You ever been in a room full of people and still feel like you don't exist? There was this moment, just a random Tuesday night. My friends were all laughing, throwing jokes, talking about their dads like it was nothing. My dad taught me this. My dad warned me about that. I just nodded and smiled. But deep inside, I was quiet. Not just quiet, empty. Because I didn't have those stories. I never heard "I'm proud of you" from a father figure. No one showed me how to shave, how to tie a tie, how to deal with heartbreak like a man. I had to figure that all out on my own, pretending I was okay, pretending I didn't care. But here's the truth, bro. I did care. We all do. When you grow up without a dad, there's a part of you that keeps asking, what's wrong with me? Why didn't he stay? And even if people say, it's not your fault, that question, it stays. Quiet but loud. Always in the background. You start overthinking every decision. You second guess your worth. You feel like you have to constantly prove something to the world, to yourself, to a father who's not even watching. And then there's the weight, that silent, heavy pressure of trying to be the man without ever being shown how. You act strong, but inside you're tired. Tired of pretending, tired of smiling when deep down you're lost. You look in the mirror and wonder if you're enough. You get into relationships and start fearing they'll leave too, because someone already did. And bro, it's not weakness. It's not drama. It's just real. You're not broken, but you are carrying a wound that's invisible to most people. One that cuts deeper than anyone sees. And unless you face it, it keeps controlling you in ways you don't even notice. Let's talk about that. No BS, just man to man. You ever notice how sometimes you push people away, even when all you really want is to feel close? That's the wound talking. A man who grew up without a father. He learns early how to protect himself. He builds emotional wall, not because he wants to, but because it feels safer. Because getting attached feels dangerous. Because deep down, he doesn't want to be left again. So he jokes too much, keeps things surface level, avoids opening up. He becomes the strong, silent type. But it's not strength, it's survival. And let's be real, this kind of survival turns into self-sabotage. You might start thinking you're not meant for love. You pull back when someone gets too close. You settle for less because deep inside, you don't believe you deserve better. You treat relationships like they're temporary because that's how family felt growing up. You don't trust people fully. And even worse, you don't trust yourself. Here's something no one says out loud. A man without a father often feels like he has to prove his masculinity all the time. Like he has to be tough, never cry, never break, never show weakness. But bro, that's not strength. That's fear in disguise. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to say, I don't know what I'm doing. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you real. There's this myth that if you didn't have a dad, you'll always be lost. But that's a lie. The truth is, no father doesn't mean no future. It just means you'll have to fight harder to define who you are. You're not doomed to repeat his absence. You're not cursed to carry his silence. But first, you have to be honest with yourself. Admit the pain. Name the wound, because that's where healing starts. Not in pretending to be okay, but in finally saying, I'm not okay, but I want to get better. And bro, wanting better, that's where your power begins. You know what's interesting? Some of the strongest men I know grew up without a father. And I don't mean interesting in a light way. I mean it in that raw, life hits you hard kind of way. Because life didn't hand them a guidebook. No instructions, no safety net, just pressure and silence. But here's the twist. Sometimes the pain that breaks you is also the pain that builds you. You learned how to survive without a mentor. You became your own man through trial, error, failure, and grit. That's not weakness, bro. That's growth at its core. That's the kind of man who doesn't just survive challenges, he shapes them. Still, I get it. Sometimes you wish you had someone to blame, someone to look in the eye and ask, why didn't you show up? And maybe you'll never get that answer. But let me ask you this. How long are you going to let a man who didn't raise you still control you? How long are you going to let his absence define your worth, your identity, your choices? There's a moment, and it's coming if it hasn't already, when you realize you are not him. And that's the most liberating truth you'll ever find. You can become the kind of man he never was. You can build the kind of life you never had. You can speak the words you never heard to your friends, your partner, your future kids, even to yourself. It starts by breaking the cycle, not with anger, not with revenge, but with awareness. And yeah, sometimes you've got to laugh. Laugh at the challenges you face. Laugh at how crazy things seem. Not because it was easy, but because you're still standing, still fighting, still pushing forward. And that's strength that no one can take from you. You've made it this far, bro. Now let's be real. This is where the shift happens. You've listened, you've thought. Now it's time to do something about it. You've been carrying a weight, maybe your whole life. The absence, the silence, the feeling like you're missing something. But here's the truth. That weight doesn't define you. It only defines what you've had to endure, not who you are. You are not your past. You are not the pain. You are not the things that happened to you. You are who you choose to be. And choosing to rise is the most powerful thing you can do. You have everything you need inside you to become the man you were meant to be. You've already survived. Now, it's time to thrive. It starts with making the decision to stop letting the past control you. Stop letting the absence of someone define your worth. Stop settling for less than what you truly deserve. You're not here to just get by. You're here to grow. grow. And that's what the world needs. Men who are confident in themselves, who know their worth, who know that their value comes from within. So, when those doubts hit, when you start questioning your ability or your worth, remember, you are the product of every choice you've made and every battle you've won. And that's something no one can take away. Don't let the world tell you who you're supposed to be. You know who you are. Now, it's time to walk in it. Be the example you needed growing up. Show up for yourself like no one ever did. Because, bro, that's what real strength looks like. Bro, if this hit you even a little, don't just sit there. Hit that subscribe button. Join the movement. We're building real men here, one honest conversation at a time. No fake smiles, no BS. Just truth, growth, and the real you stepping up. Let's keep it moving. Real talk, bro.